Imagine a country where, just 150 years ago, warriors strode the streets carrying two swords as a symbol of honor and power, completely cut off from the outside world. Fast forward to today, and that same nation rockets bullet trains at over 200 miles per hour, running with clockwork precision. This isn't just a tale of technology, it's one of the most breathtaking cultural transformations in human history, happening faster than anywhere else on the planet. Get ready to dive into Japan's incredible journey from samurai swords to Shinkansen speed. Today, we're embarking on an extraordinary journey through time, from the era of legendary samurai warriors to the age of the Shinkansen bullet train. We'll uncover how a nation that once banned foreigners from even setting foot on their soil became one of the world's most innovative technological powerhouses. You'll discover the hidden connections between ancient Japanese philosophy and modern engineering marvels, and why understanding this transformation is crucial for anyone trying to comprehend how societies evolve in the modern world. But here's what makes this story truly fascinating. The same principles that guided samurai swordsmanship and the ancient tea ceremony are embedded in the design of Japan's most advanced technologies today. By the end of this documentary, you'll see how the spirit of medieval Japan didn't disappear during modernization. Instead, it evolved and became the secret ingredient that makes Japanese innovation so distinctive. Let's begin our journey in the year 1185, when the Kamakura Shogunate established the foundation of samurai rule that would dominate Japan for nearly 7 centuries. Picture a landscape where wooden temples pierce through misty mountains, where the sound of bamboo fountains echoes through perfectly manicured gardens, and where the way of the warrior, known as Bushido, governed not just combat but every aspect of daily life. The samurai weren't just fighters. They were philosophers, poets, and administrators who believed that perfection in one area of life would naturally flow into all others. This concept, called Shoshin, or beginner's mind, taught that even masters should approach their craft with the fresh perspective of a student. Little did anyone know that this philosophy would become fundamental to Japan's approach to technological innovation centuries later. During the Edo period, which began in 1603, Japan made a decision that would seem impossible in today's interconnected world. They chose complete isolation. The Sakoku policy effectively sealed Japan's borders for over 250 years. No foreigners could enter, and no Japanese could leave under penalty of death. While Europe was experiencing the Renaissance and the Industrial Revolution, Japan was perfecting internal harmony and craftsmanship in complete solitude. This isolation wasn't stagnation, though. It was like a pressure cooker of cultural refinement. Without external influences, Japanese artisans, thinkers, and craftsmen developed incredibly sophisticated techniques. They perfected metallurgy for sword making, created architectural methods that allowed buildings to flex during earthquakes, and developed agricultural techniques that maximized yield from limited land. The attention to detail and pursuit of perfection that characterized this period would later become hallmarks of Japanese manufacturing. The way samurai approached sword making offers a perfect example. Creating a katana wasn't just about forging metal. It was a spiritual practice that required years of apprenticeship, meditation, and understanding the soul of the steel. The swordsmith would study the grain of the metal, feel its temperature changes, and know instinctively when it had reached perfection. This same intuitive understanding of materials and processes would later revolutionize how Japan approached everything from electronics to transportation. But this isolation couldn't last forever. On July 8, 1853, Commodore Matthew Perry's black ships appeared in Tokyo Bay, and everything changed. The sight of these steam-powered vessels, with their iron hulls and advanced weaponry, shattered the illusion that Japan could remain separate from the rapidly modernizing world. The samurai, who had never seen steam engines or modern firearms, realized their traditional weapons and methods were no longer sufficient. What happened next defied all historical precedent. Rather than resist foreign influence or gradually adapt, Japan chose radical, comprehensive transformation. The Meiji Restoration of 1868 marked not just a change in government but a complete reimagining of Japanese society. Emperor Meiji declared that knowledge would be sought from around the world, and the feudal system that had defined Japan for centuries was dismantled almost overnight. Here's where the story becomes truly remarkable. The Japanese didn't simply copy Western technology, they studied it, understood its principles, and then improved upon it using their traditional approach to craftsmanship and perfection. The same mindset that created perfect swords was now applied to creating perfect railways, perfect factories, and perfect products. The first railway line in Japan opened in 1872, connecting Tokyo and Yokohama. It was built with British assistance, but the Japanese engineers weren't content to simply maintain foreign technology. They immediately began studying every component, understanding how each part worked, and identifying ways to make improvements. This pattern of learning, mastering, and innovating became the template for Japan's entire modernization process. The transformation wasn't just technological. It was social, educational, and psychological. The samurai class, which had defined Japanese society for centuries, was officially abolished. Former warriors found themselves becoming businessmen, engineers, and educators. The discipline and dedication they had once applied to martial arts was redirected toward building a modern nation. One of the most fascinating aspects of this transformation was how traditional Japanese values adapted to serve modern purposes. The concept of shokunin, the craftsman's spirit of dedicating one's entire life to perfecting a single skill, became the foundation for Japan's manufacturing excellence. Whether someone was making swords or assembling electronics, the underlying philosophy remained the same: pursue perfection through endless practice and attention to detail. The educational system was completely revolutionized. Japan sent thousands of students abroad to study Western science, technology, and methods of governance. When they returned, they didn't simply transplant foreign ideas. They adapted these concepts to fit Japanese culture and values. This created a unique hybrid approach that combined the efficiency of Western methods with the precision and dedication of traditional Japanese craftsmanship. By the early 1900s, Japan had achieved something unprecedented in human history. In less than 50 years, they had transformed from a feudal, isolated society into a modern industrial power capable of defeating Russia in the Russo-Japanese War of 1905. This victory shocked the world and announced Japan's arrival as a major international player. The same attention to detail that characterized samurai sword polishing was now being applied to manufacturing processes. Japanese factories developed quality control methods that were more rigorous than anything seen in the West. Workers weren't just following instructions. They were encouraged to continuously improve processes and identify potential problems before they occurred. This brings us to one of the most important concepts in understanding Japanese innovation: Kaizen, or continuous improvement. Unlike Western approaches that often focused on revolutionary breakthroughs, Japanese methodology emphasized constant, incremental refinements. Every worker, from the factory floor to the executive suite, was expected to contribute ideas for improvement. The post-World War II period marked another dramatic transformation. Japan had to rebuild not just its physical infrastructure, but its entire economic and social system. The principles that had guided the Meiji transformation once again proved invaluable. Rather than simply copying American or European models, Japan created its own approach to modern capitalism that incorporated traditional values of cooperation, long-term thinking, and mutual responsibility. The development of the Shinkansen bullet train perfectly illustrates this synthesis of traditional Japanese values and cutting-edge technology. The project began in the 1950s, when Japan was still recovering from the war. The decision to build a completely new type of railway system seemed almost impossible, but it embodied the same spirit of ambitious transformation that had characterized the Meiji period. The engineers working on the Shinkansen didn't just want to build a faster train. They wanted to create a transportation system that reflected Japanese values of punctuality, safety, and service excellence. Every component was designed and tested with the same meticulous attention to detail that samurai had once applied to their swords. The shape of the bullet train's nose, for example, wasn't just about aerodynamics. Engineers studied the flight patterns of birds, the movement of fish through water, and even the way traditional Japanese arrows cut through air. They tested hundreds of designs in wind tunnels, making tiny adjustments until they achieved the perfect balance of speed, stability, and energy efficiency. When the first Shinkansen line opened in 1964, just in time for the Tokyo Olympics, it represented more than technological achievement. It was a symbol of Japan's complete transformation from a war-torn nation to a modern industrial power. The trains didn't just move fast, they moved with a precision and reliability that reflected deep cultural values. The average delay on the Shinkansen system is less than 1 minute. This isn't achieved through technology alone, but through the same dedication to perfection that characterized traditional Japanese craftsmanship. Every employee, from train operators to maintenance workers, approaches their job with the shokunin spirit of continuous improvement and absolute commitment to excellence. The cleaning crews who service the trains between runs have become legendary for their efficiency and thoroughness. They transform a used train car into pristine condition in just 7 minutes, working with choreographed precision that resembles a traditional Japanese tea ceremony. This attention to detail and seemingly mundane tasks reflects the deeper philosophy that excellence in small things leads to excellence in large things. But the Shinkansen is more than just a transportation system. It's a manifestation of Japanese innovation philosophy that combines respect for tradition with embrace of the future. The trains use advanced computer systems for navigation and safety, but they also incorporate principles of design and service that can be traced back to ancient Japanese aesthetics. The interior design of the trains reflects the Japanese concept of ma, or harmonious space. Colors are carefully chosen to create a sense of calm and tranquility. Seats are positioned to maximize comfort while minimizing noise and vibration. Even the sound of the doors closing was carefully engineered to be both distinctive and pleasant. This integration of traditional aesthetics with modern technology extends throughout Japanese society. The same companies that produce advanced robotics also maintain traditional craft workshops where artisans create products using methods passed down for generations. This isn't contradiction, it's synthesis. Sony, Toyota, Honda, and other Japanese companies that became global leaders didn't succeed by abandoning Japanese values. They succeeded by finding ways to express those values through modern technology and business practices. The Toyota production system, which revolutionized manufacturing worldwide, is based on principles that can be traced back to traditional Japanese workshop practices. The concept of just-in-time production, where materials arrive exactly when needed, reflects the Japanese aesthetic of minimalism and efficiency. The practice of continuous quality improvement mirrors the traditional apprenticeship system, where masters and students work together to perfect their craft over decades. Modern Japanese technology companies still organize themselves according to principles that would be familiar to medieval craft guilds. Senior engineers mentor junior colleagues, not just in technical skills, but in the philosophy and ethics of their profession. The relationship between mentor and student creates bonds that last entire careers and ensures that knowledge is transmitted not just intellectually, but culturally. This cultural continuity explains why Japanese companies often take longer-term approaches to innovation than their Western counterparts. Where American companies might focus on quarterly profits, Japanese companies think in terms of decades, or even generations. This long-term perspective allows for the kind of continuous refinement that produces truly exceptional products. The development of Japanese consumer electronics illustrates this perfectly. Companies like Sony didn't just want to make radios or televisions. They wanted to create products that would enhance people's lives in meaningful ways. The Walkman wasn't just a portable music player. It was a device that allowed people to create personal soundscapes and transform their relationship with music and space. Japanese video game companies approached their medium with the same philosophical depth. Nintendo didn't just create games, they created experiences that brought families together and fostered creativity and imagination. The attention to detail in character design, level construction, and user interface reflects the same commitment to craftsmanship that characterized traditional Japanese arts. Today, as Japan faces new challenges from demographic change and global competition, the same principles that enabled previous transformations are being applied to emerging technologies. Japanese companies are leaders in robotics, not just because they have advanced technical capabilities, but because they approach the relationship between humans and machines with sensitivity rooted in their cultural tradition. Japanese robots are designed not just to perform tasks efficiently, but to interact with humans in ways that feel natural and comfortable. This reflects the traditional Japanese understanding that technology should enhance human capabilities rather than replace human relationships. The journey from samurai to Shinkansen reveals something profound about how societies can change while maintaining their essential character. Japan's transformation wasn't achieved by abandoning the past, but by finding ways to express traditional values through new forms and technologies. The samurai belief in continuous self-improvement became kaizen. The craftsman's dedication to perfection became quality control. The warrior's discipline became corporate culture. The aesthetic principles of traditional arts became design philosophy for modern products. Understanding this transformation offers insights that extend far beyond Japan. It demonstrates that successful modernization doesn't require cultural abandonment. Instead, it requires finding ways to translate core values into new contexts and applications. As we face our own technological and social changes, Japan's journey offers a model for thoughtful adaptation. The speed of change doesn't have to mean the loss of identity. Innovation doesn't have to mean the destruction of tradition. The future doesn't have to be disconnected from the past. The bullet train that races across Japan at incredible speeds carries within its design the same spirit of excellence that guided samurai swordsmiths centuries ago. This continuity of purpose across radical transformation is perhaps Japan's greatest achievement and its most valuable lesson for the rest of the world. From the discipline of the warrior to the precision of the engineer, from the aesthetics of the tea ceremony to the design of the smartphone, Japan shows us that the most profound changes often happen not by revolution, but by evolution. By staying true to fundamental values while embracing new possibilities, an entire civilization can transform itself without losing its soul. This is the real magic of Japan's journey through time, proving that tradition and innovation aren't opposites, but partners in the continuous creation of human excellence. If you loved this wild ride through the epic history of transportation, smash that subscribe button. It's the best way to help the channel grow and make sure you never miss out on more mind-blowing stories. We've got everything from ancient empires rising to the weirdest, most bananas inventions you've never heard of. Dive into the playlist or stick around. Trust me, history's only getting crazier. Want to go even deeper into the madness? Subscribe to our newsletter at www.historygonebananas.com for exclusive behind-the-scenes, juicy deep dives, and all the bananas history you can handle. No spam, just pure historical craziness.